With the enclosure and assembly mounted, the next step is to wire Backup Gateway 2. Installers will need to provide the circuit breakers appropriate for the job following local requirements. Before beginning any wiring, ensure that all power sources are de-energized and safe to work on. Refer to the chart on the back of the dead front cover for diagrams, torque specs, and allowable wire gauges. Throughout the wiring process, grounding conductors will be terminated on the ground bar. Begin with the incoming supply wiring. For single-phase systems, land the incoming Line 1 conductor on the terminal labeled Supply Line 1 on the black label. Land the incoming neutral conductor to the Supply Neutral terminal. Please note that wiring color conventions vary by region, and the following examples may not match a specific installation. Follow the installation manual and local standard practices throughout the process. Backup Gateway 2 requires overcurrent protection. If one is not already installed before the gateway, an overcurrent protection device must be installed on the DIN rail, which then feeds the supply terminals. In partial home backup configurations, land the line conductor for non-backup loads on the terminal with the black non-backup label. Land the neutral conductor for the non-backed up loads on the supply neutral terminal. Next are the backed up home loads. Connect the home loads to the Line 1 and neutral terminals at the home label. The breakers for power walls and solar inverters are connected to the other set of Line 1 and neutral terminals at the white home label. Use bus bars as needed to supply power to the solar and power wall breakers. Here are some diagrams of the same configuration in different regions. In Japan, the configuration is the same except Line 1 and 2 are both used. For three-phase systems, land the incoming Line 1, 2, and 3 and neutral conductors on their respective ports at the black supply label. A 3 or 4 pole overcurrent device for the service feed can also be installed on the DIN rail if not already installed before gateway. Any three-phase loads or three-phase solar inverters must be connected to the non-backup terminals. Three-phase loads and three-phase solar inverters cannot be included in the backup circuit. Single-phase loads are connected to Line 1 at the home label as seen earlier. Additionally, single-phase loads can also be connected to Lines 2 and 3, however, only one phase is backed up. In this example, Line 1 has been selected as the backed up phase. Powerwall can be installed on either one phase or all three phases. In this scenario, all three phases will operate in self-consumption mode. However, only one phase will be backed up during a grid outage. The other two power walls will shut off. The phase to be backed up is selected by the installer during the commissioning process. The next step is to make the low-voltage connections between backup gateway and power wall. Energy metering is covered in a separate video. In addition to branch circuit wiring, a communication cable is run between backup gateway and power walls. This 4-conductor communication cable should be shielded copper with at least one twisted pair. The cable should be either double insulated or have sufficient voltage rating to comply with local regulations. This cable must not exceed 45 meters in length. Remove the outer jacket from the 4-conductor communication cable. On the backup gateway side of the 4-conductor communication cable, cut back the drain wire. On the power wall side, the drain wire will be terminated at the earth lug, along with the grounding conductor. Strip and insert the wires into the 4-pin connector in the backup gateway. Ensure that the twisted pair is used for CAN high and CAN low connections. Plug the green connector into the port inside of backup gateway and secure the 2 set screws on each side. The other end of this cable is connected inside of Powerwall, which is covered in the Powerwall wiring video. Visibility on power and energy data is needed for Powerwall systems to operate properly. As mentioned earlier, metering is covered in a separate video. Please review the video and consult the installation manual for details. Reliable internet connectivity is important. For best performance, connect Ethernet with a Cat5 or higher cable as to not rely solely on Wi-Fi. The gateway will automatically select the network option with the best connection. Once all connections are made and energy meters installed, test the circuits and neatly manage all wiring inside of backup gateway. Take photos of all work done and replace the dead front panel and install provided snap and breaker fillers in any empty slots. Finally, mount the glass enclosure door. The system is now ready for commissioning.